There's some irony to this, I'm aware, but the fact is that the nature of the game has completely changed. The other day I started rewatching Sex and the City, and I was thinking a lot about Carrie Bradshaw. Carrie Bradshaw invented a dream. Sex and the City invented a dream that so many girls especially then followed into. But when they made And Just Like That, even the creators of this character couldn't envision a modern world that she could exist in without being an influencer. When they came back to Carrie 20 years later, 30 years later, she has a podcast. In the whole however many seasons of And Just Like That, you actually very rarely see her or hear about her writing. And if she is, she's now no longer a journalist. She's writing memoirs, she's a public figure by now. And there's a lot more talk about her Instagram, her podcast, her other endeavours. So even they couldn't envision a world in which Carrie Bradshaw is still a newspaper writing journalist. And to me, when I was watching it, it basically just summed up so many thoughts I've been having, and the fact that there are so many depressing realities that require accepting currently. The very nature of journalism has completely changed on so many different levels, and all those different levels feed into one another and make each level harder and worse. The first one being an obvious one of the economy. The economy doesn't really allow for frivolities like art and media as a subsect of art. And so when times are tough, when money is tough, that is kind of the first thing to go in a structured, real way. So currently a magazine job, a full-time employed magazine job, is almost extinct. It's getting harder and harder and rarer to find an in-house role, which brings up a whole other can of worms, an in-house, salaried, stable role is what a lot of people completely require. We require those roles because people require pensions, people require holiday days, people require sick leave, where if you get ill, you're not going to be losing out on money or be in a situation where you can't afford to be ill. People require stability for rent. There are obviously a lot of benefits to self-employment and freelance life in terms of flexibility, but what flexibility doesn't and can never provide is certainty, confidence, stability, in the way that if you're someone who doesn't come from a basis of money, doesn't have anyone to support them, doesn't have any level of fallback, you just can't be freelance. You can't rely on freelance enough to be able to commit in the way it requires, so not having as many staff roles and in-house roles is a genuine block to the industry for working class people and people who don't have background secret security. There's many reasons as to why in-house roles are getting more and more slim, but one of them is the fact that digital journalism has completely and utterly changed, and the digital world has completely pivoted to video, which is a pretty tough reality to swallow when you're a writer. Websites aren't getting clicks. No one's going on websites, no one's reading anything. They want to watch a video of what their article is. If you look on any magazines Instagram channels, social channels, what you're going to find is the articles being put on site now translated into a carousel or a TikTok or a short form video or something. Whereas before, even I remember the start of my journalism career, the name of the game on social was to take your article and tease it. You had to tease it to get people to go and click through because they wanted to know the answers. The name of the game has completely changed now. Now, social almost runs as this separate entity. It's no longer about teasing because no one's going to follow the tease. So now instead, the name of the game is for someone to write an article on site and then a social team to fully adapt it for socials. Look on any magazine's Instagram, what you're going to see now is that these carousels are the full article, basically, in bite-sized pieces. If there's any level of answer to be found in the article, you're probably just going to see it on the Instagram post. So it's socials are doing great, but then how do you get those socials to be click-throughs to websites? And like, yeah, an influencer might be able to make a lot of money off Instagram, but a magazine can't. A magazine makes money from website traffic. Like, there's ads there, that's what pays the bills. Or like, if the magazine's owned by a company, whoever's investing in that company is going to want to see like statistic payoff. And the statistic payoff is going to come from website views, which is like plummeting again for so many reasons. A huge one being Google's AI overview. If you're Googling something and you can find the answer top of the page because Google's AI has like done all the searching and pulled it out for you, there's no need for you to click on the website to find the answer. You know it. So there are less magazine jobs because there's less money. All of this is the context and the landscape that has made the influencer problem worse. The process of pitching an article kind of all comes down to like cost and payoff. The reason that magazines have like commissioning editors is because these are people experienced in being able to do the kind of mental maths of whether an article might kind of bring back what they're going to pay out for it. But in a world where journalism is becoming harder and bringing in that amount is becoming harder and harder, it's changed into this thing of like, it's no longer just about will this idea work. It's like, can you, as the writer, as the person pitching it, kind of promise like what you're being given? And so you can see how this leads directly into influencers taking journalist jobs. Because think about it, if you're an influencer, you have an idea, or like, you're an influencer, there's a film coming out, there's going to be a press junket. A magazine wants to go to the press junket, but it's like, oh, you're going to have to pay someone to go and do that. Like, is that going to be cost effective to do this like little interview? But what is cost effective is if the magazine can take their following, their sway, and then double it by sending an influencer with like 200k plus, you know, and then they're going to do a collab post. So the reach of that post, the reach of that article is 10 times bigger. It's like a far more comforting guarantee for the magazine if they're going to send a known name, because there's payoff in a known name. So that's why we're seeing things like Jake Shane on the red carpet or whatever event, or like Amelia de Moldenberg everywhere. But there's this muddling now of press and like influencers who are in some way technically talent, which then brings up a whole bunch of questions about like journalistic integrity. If you've got someone who's also kind of considered talent because they have a degree of following, are they going to ask tough questions? Are we sending influencers in? Are we going to get influencers to like ask actors about some kind of political controversy? Are we going to get influencers being like, oh, you said this, you support this person, like, how do you feel about this? No. That's why we're getting this level of journalism that's like snog, marry, kill, or like silly games. Like, we're in an era where journalism has pivoted to short form silly games. You're not getting long form conversations because 1, no one's reading it. 2, an influencer isn't trained in that. There's also this thing of like, if you're talent yourself in the way an influencer is technically, it muddies purpose. A journalist is sent into like an interview or an investigation, a pitch, with a task. Like, they're tasked by a magazine. Their focus is the task at hand. Their focus isn't making friends. Their focus isn't normally, or like not to the full extent, like their reputation. Whereas if you have an influencer who is out to like build their own following, as is the nature of the game, the like motivation changes in their head. The motivation is to kind of be personable, be good on camera themselves, like be funny, like make the interview, like the person they're interviewing, like them. That element of make the person like you is the thing that when it comes to journalists, you quickly have to like axe or attempt to try to axe that desire to some degree. Obviously, like, don't be a dick, but like, you're not there to like make the actor love you. This isn't just happening in journalism. I remember when I was coming to finish my novel, I said to someone that I was really struggling. Like, I was struggling to just know how to end the thing. And I got told that maybe the best thing I could do was to really focus on my Instagram, really focus on my social following. And like, as depressing as it was and as like shitty as it was to hear, they were right, because book deals are going to influencers. I don't discredit the worth of either film, but it's also not a coincidence that like two of the biggest films this year, Obsession and Backrooms, both directed by YouTubers. Because these risks, these like creative funding risks being paid out by magazines, by studios, by publishing houses, an influencer with a degree of following, with an inbuilt audience, and so like an inbuilt sales force, is a very comforting thing to that scary decision to like splash out a whole bunch of cash. But the thing that I find worrying and I find difficult and conflicting, and why I'm here but also like feel weird about being here, is that in a video first world that like prioritizes influencers, where does that put you if your skill is writing? If like people aren't reading, what do you do if you're a writer? And it extends like so far beyond creative endeavors. Even before I was a journalist, I would work as like a content writer for like brands, you know, like writing product descriptions, emails, writing blog content, like just the words that like a brand or a shop needs to have. And those jobs have become strange when you look at them now. Some of them don't exist because they're using AI to do all of that. And if they do employ a content person, that content person is editing what AI has written and then normally feeding it back into the AI. So essentially putting themselves out of a job slowly. Or you see these jobs that are like content and social. So even there, the person that's good at words is also expected to be the person that's good at video. Either being on camera, making videos, making stuff for social media. Like the two things have become completely conflated in the way that it seems more and more that really any kind of creative role, any kind of creative endeavour in any company is now tethered to socials. If you're the creative hire of a company, chances are you're the person doing the social media or the person they're roping in to be involved in the social media, to do the videos, to do whatever, as if like any level of creativity, any level of artistry, any level of like creative or artistic skill must now be funneled through this like digital social first pipeline. What are we supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I had a drink with my friend Sophie, who's like an amazing writer and journalist, and she said this thing that every time she sees a writer that she admires like pick up a little mini mic, it feels like an angel's lost its wings, and it really kind of does feel like that. Like, I don't really know what to say about hitting up TikTok and seeing like a novel writer that I love having to make like, here's how I got my book published in 60 seconds. Come with me for a day out to finish my book. Here are 5 tips that I have for getting into publishing. Blah. You're a novelist. The whole point is that like you're an amazing long form writer. Put the mini mic down. Like, we shouldn't have to be here. If I want a job, like, is this where I have to be now? Is this what I have to be doing? Do I want to get better at it because I want to do it, or do I want to get better at it because I feel like I have to do it? As I've been like rotting and watching Sex and the City, I've been thinking about it more and more. The Carrie Bradshaw of it all, the dream. Carrie Bradshaw, the Joan Didion, the Eve Babbitts, like the Hunter S. Thompsons, like these notable journalists, these notable writers that like sold this dream and that so many people followed, or just like so many people's like unending, everlasting dream of being a writer, and how it feels like in this world it's becoming like a truly and like increasingly unattainable thing. And I'm wondering, like, if I didn't feel like I had to be here doing video, would I? Or like, where does that sit alongside my ambition? To my detriment, I want to be successful. To my detriment, I want my work to be seen and known, and I would like to feel like I might leave a legacy and like be remembered. But like, I want to be remembered, and I would want any level of legacy around my name to be as a writer. I dream of writing great things. I don't dream of a TikTok. Obviously I would like following, as lame as that is to say, but I would like following that, like I would like people to know my work. It's the desire for an audience, but not in the way of like, I don't want to be a jester. I'm not trying to jester Max. I am trying to literature max, I'm trying to word mog. Every time I film a video, I hate the element that comes along with it of like, I'm going to film this video, as I'm doing now, then I'm going to sit and I'm going to edit it, and rather than thinking about if I've got my point across, a big part of my thought process will be, do I look good? Do I look nice enough? Have I like presented well? And I hate that, and that's like not what I want to be using my brain space to do. But like, this is the nature of the game. I want to be a writer, and I want to be a known writer, and I want to do well. But the dream of doing well, what doing well looks like in this day and age, is becoming more and more impossible to believe in. To be a writer now, do I have to be an influencer? To be an influencer, do I have to be on video? And if I'm on video, am I still a writer? Well, does it ever loop back around to the written word if I then have to take my written word, given the fact that I wrote this as a Substack, but here I am talking you through it, you know? Could you not just have read it? Like, you gonna go read it now? Please do.